welcome back to the Farthest Thunder, an alien RPG actual play. And tonight we will be down one player. Aiko will not be able to join us. We will continue on with the remainder of you as you try and get yourselves out of the hot mess that you're in at the moment. I'll start off with a quick summary from last session. In the last episode, you made your way cautiously to the medical clinic within Baxter's reach, where you were instructed to parley with a representative of the cooperative. The atmosphere was tense, and the streets were filled with the injured and desperate. The simp guards allowed only you to pass, recognizing Benji as the brother of Simon's girlfriend, Andrea. As you entered the clinic, the unsettling quiet struck you immediately. The clinic should have been busy treating the wounded, was strangely empty, save for Simon, who had lost a leg in the beetle attack. His girlfriend Andrea was there, Benji's sister, a cooperative general, and a couple of his armed guards. The general, who seemed quite cold and dismissive, showed little interest in talking to you. Instead, he focused on Ezra, whom he asked to stay behind while ordering the rest of you to leave. The general wanted information about the state of the crashed SEV and the whereabouts of the missing cooperative captain. He even went as far as to offer Ezra a position within the cooperative, but only if he could prove his loyalty. The general then revealed cooperative's plans for Baxter's Reach. They intended to abandon the colony, taking only those deemed valuable. The sick, elderly, and wounded, including Simon, were to be left behind to fend for themselves. In a chilling display of ruthlessness, the general commanded Ezra to execute Simon. And to your horror, Ezra agreed. In cold blood, he killed Simon, and then, in an unexpected turn, turned the gun on the general himself, executing him as well. What followed was a fierce gunfight within the clinic. A place intended to heal instead ended up being a place of death. And in the chaotic blur of violence, young Benji fell. Broken, wounded, and in a state of shock, you fled the clinic as chaos erupted throughout the town. In the confusion, Alex Turner, whose condition had significantly worsened, disappeared without a trace. Your group split in the aftermath, with Andrea and South taking Benji's body back to his home, laying him to rest there. South, filled with anger, laid the blame for Benji's death squarely on Andrea's shoulders, who refused to perhaps accept it or deal with it at that time, stormed out into the streets. The rest of you, desperate and hunted, scrambled to the council chambers. There, Elena lets you in, and you manage to recover the long data disk from the vault, a crucial piece of the colony's dark history. But as you regroup and try to make some sense of the carnage, a loud knock echoes ominously throughout the chamber. Someone appears at the door, demanding to be let in. The manhunt for those responsible for the death of the cooperative general is well underway. You are their primary targets. That is where we begin tonight. South, you are still at Benji's home. Were you trying to make your way to the council chambers?
Yeah, I think after Because I think South, I think Andrea stormed out, and I think South went to follow her, and I assume she's probably headed back to the council chambers as well.
All right. Did I ask you to make a mobility check last session? I can't recall.
I don't think so.
All right. Let's start with that. Two extra successes there. What would you like to do with those successes?
Can't I? Can I bank both of them for another mobility roll later on?
Let's see. With a mobility check, you can give one to another PC in the same scene as you, which you're alone, so you can't do that. You can gain +1 modification to a later skill roll relating to this one,
Do
or you
anything?
can impress someone. But I'll also say, because you're trying to move quietly and without being noticed, you clearly do so with even just the one success. But with the other successes, you can move more quickly if you like, or I will allow you to use those extra successes towards an observation check. See if you can get an idea as to what's happening in town.
Uh, I'm gonna. Or well, yeah. Let's do the observation check.
All right. So go ahead and make that observation with a base modifier of 2. All right. You're feeling the pressure of the situation starting to press in on you as you see a number of simps running around, seemingly without much direction. Their leader Simon is dead, and likewise, you notice that the cooperative soldiers, the ones that were kind of scattered around town, you see them reorganizing, and it looks like they're retreating, heading back towards their ship. The simps, in the meantime, some of them are trying to plead with the soldiers, "Hey, where are you going? What are you doing? We can't just leave us here. Take us with you." And others are just like throwing their weapons down, saying, "Fuck this," and they're just trying to figure out a place to hide or run to. Or some of them have started looting what's left to loot. It is absolute chaos in town. Even though there might be a manhunt for those responsible for the killing of the general, there doesn't seem to be any kind of organized search.
Then I'm gonna. I'm just gonna keep my head down and just keep working my way towards the uh, room, or I guess where everybody else is at.
All right. So you know your way around town. You can easily make your way to the council chambers. So you know where it is. And as you approach, come around from an alley, you look around, make sure that coast is clear. You just see people kind of running around madly. You see pounding madly at the door of the council chambers. Alex.
Does does he look normal?
I'll let you make another observation check. Because it's kind of a weird angle to be seeing him at. You're kind of looking at the back of him. You can't really get a good
Right.
look at him. You keep dropping things out.
Of course.
What do you think you were holding at this time?
Probably the pulse rifle, which unfortunately I think is the only thing I have in my inventory.
All right.
That's good.
So, but you succeed in your observation check. And with that extra success, you can clearly see something is wrong with Alex Turner. You already had known, you'd seen him. He's like pale as a ghost, veins kind of popping out of his forehead, eyes bulging, like almost like fish kind of coming out of his skull. But now you can just see running down his arms, black veins, and his arms are almost bluish in color, as if they were exposed to like freezer burn or something. It's just kind of long, elongated bluish arms, and you can see the back of his head. His hair has been falling out in clumps. And when you look at him, he kind of glances over his shoulder briefly, and you can get a good look at him. His head seems to be elongated slightly, and you can just see the back of his head kind of bulging a little. And he does not look normal. And in the shock of seeing him like that, you drop your pulse rifle.
Is there any other way into the council room? Is it just that door?
This is the main entrance. There might be a back entrance, but I'm going to make a quick roll for observation for Alex to see if he sees you standing there after you drop your gun. No, he's not. He's too intent on pounding this door down. So do you want to retreat and find another entrance in then?
Yeah, I'm gonna slowly back away. And is is this like an alleyway? Would there be any like, I don't know, piece of pipe or anything around that I could like quickly scoop up as I back up?
Yeah, yeah. There's all sorts of debris you can pick up around here that can be an improvised blunt weapon.
Okay, well, I'm gonna try to just like pick up a scrap piece of metal or literally anything I can get my hands on that looks sturdy enough and slowly start to back up.
All right. So for those of you who are on the inside of this building, you hear this pounding on the door. Elena has a look of sheer terror, saying, "How they must have followed you here."
Don't worry about that, ma'am. Charges up the zapper.
Fine. Ezra, you are broken at this point too, so you still
I
are
am.
in rough shape. I think
Yep.
you are
Mm.
like your whole left shoulder has got a
Correct.
hole blown through it. Okay.
Yep. Not one non-functional arm.
Hey, twins.
All right. So what do you guys do? You just hear this pounding on the door that will not stop.
Can Otmar put the data disk in Gideon's lap? Can Gideon like
Ooh, that's
hold
smart,
on to it?
yeah.
Sure. Aiko
That's
is with you
what he would
too,
do.
but I'm going to say he's going to play the coward this session and do what he does best and hide.
Yes.
So normal Ico, got it. Should we just pretend no one's home? Maybe they'll move on.
Can we see who it is?
Ezra will sit back down at the terminal and for any closed circuit cameras of the where are we? The council chambers. I'll look for a closed circuit camera system for the
All right,
the
go ahead and
building.
make a comtech check. All right. So with that extra success, you do manage to find a camera that looks at the front, that's positioned at the front entrance of the council chambers, and you can see clearly it is recognizably Alex. Go ahead and make another observation check, and you can add one die to it.
Nope.
All right. No successes. So yeah, you just see Alex banging madly at the door.
Yeah, he's good to sit out there. We're fine.
He's looking desperate.
On the contrary, I think we should let him in, put him out of his misery.
He wasn't
do
looking
it.
so hot 5-10 minutes ago. I'd say we just leave him out there. He'll be fine.
Doesn't look fine to me. Looks like a liability.
So this door, I mean, it's just like a regular door in Baxter's Reach. It is like a plasteel door, so it is sturdy enough to keep the high winds that often come howling through this place intact. However, you can see as he pounds on this thing, you can see dent marks starting to appear on your side of the door. It takes immense strength to dent these steel doors.
Yeah, that ain't normal. He's staying out there.
Is there a way up to the roof or another way out?
Right, isn't there like a back door or something?
Elena says, yes, there's always a fire escape, and there's always two exits. Okay, let's.
Can I get to the roof?
Not from inside. You have to be outside to get to the roof.
To the fire escape, then.
Maybe we should find someplace else a little safer than staying here. A kind of frown crosses her face for a moment. Says, we could always go to the hollow. And Otmar, you know of this place. It is a place of shady kind of place. It is an underground kind of speakeasy type environment. A lot of shady things go on down there, and there have been numerous attempts by the council to try and shut this place down. None of them successful.
Is it far from the clinic?
No, Baxter's Reach is not a very big town. You get there within probably 5 minutes if you walk, and if you're running, you can get there a couple minutes. Although you have Gideon. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a liability right now. I mean, I've never heard of this place, but we could probably head there, regroup, and then try and head back to the ship. Eat feet.
I like the
If
sound of
there's-
that.
If there's anywhere in town that... All right, go ahead.
Do you have a way to get us there? Discreetly? Secret way?
No secret way. No. Have to stay out of sight.
Should go.
All right. So as you make your way to the back fire exit of the council chamber, it's a very rarely used door. It's like one of those fire escape doors. You push on the thing and it opens, but no one ever uses it because there's never been a fire here or an emergency. So you manage to get it open, and you see standing out there South. He looks a little frazzled.
You okay?
Did you guys? Are you the ones inside there? The banging on the door. Did you guys see Alex by chance?
Yeah, he's trying to get in. He's not acting normal. He's not Alex.
I don't know about acting normal, but he is. He's fucked up. He does not look good. I don't know if it come from the Beatles or what, but that's not Alex.
We were just leaving.
That sounds like a fabulous idea, and the cooperative is also leaving.
Wait, what?
Wait,
That's not
wait,
good.
what?
Yeah, they're they're all boarding their ship, and yeah, it's complete chaos outside, guys. I don't know what's going on, who's doing what, but I think the whole manhunt thing for us is kind of the least of everybody's worries right now.
For
Does that
now.
mean the poppers are coming back? If they're heading out?
That I don't know. I hope not. But yeah, the cooperative they're getting out of here.
They got the right idea. We need to get off of this planet too.
We should get back to the ship. South, are you armed?
About that.
Oh God, not again.
It wasn't my fault. I turned the corner. Alex scared the shit out of me. I may have panicked just a little bit, and I may have dropped the pulse rifle.
Oh, we'll take this. And he'll hand him the service pistol from his inventory.
Right. I'll transfer that over to South.
Dang, South, we need to start calling you Butterfingers or
We'll do
something.
both hands and hold on to it as tight as he can.
All right. So Elena says we should get off the streets as quickly as possible, let things cool down a little bit. And she starts guiding you towards the hollow. Now, Gideon, do you have the lowest mobility score here? Go ahead and roll it with a base modifier of -2.
Okay, I'm just gonna apologize ahead of time.
No, you got this.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
So who's pushing Gideon? Is it Aiko? Aiko is on push duty?
If Aiko's at his post, he is. If he's somewhere else,
Yep.
Otmar would push.
Aiko will be doing the pushing then. All right. So you guys managed to weave your way through the back streets and alleys of Baxter's Reach, trying to stay off the main thoroughfares where there seems to be utter panic. And find yourselves at the entrance to the hollow. Now, of the lot of you, only South and Otmar, you guys would know about this place. You might have even frequented it sometime in the past, but typically you would have preferred Eva's Tumbler because it's a little less shady. If you're just going for a drink, whatever, Eva's Tumbler is a safe bet. This place you go to typically if you have specific business, or that's the reputation anyway.
Otmar knows an old previous location, but they shut it down, and then she had moved, and then she had moved again, and he hasn't been to the current look.
All right. So the thing is with the entrance, the hollow, looks like just a door. It's like a speakeasy type thing. You wouldn't indistinguishable from any other place, but it is closed. There's no signage or anything on it either.
Who brought us here?
Elena, she looks hesitantly at the rest of you and notices you all just kind of hanging back. So she'll step forward, knocks softly on the door. You can see cameras watching you.
Well, that ain't creepy at all.
Otmar will wave at the camera, smile.
Dave, I'm going to ask you what voice comes through the intercom.
You hear a gruff male voice come through the intercom, and you hear, "Mr. Ettinger, Mr. Howard, you're welcome in." You hear a click at the door.
He would gesture to the group to enter. Otmar would bring up the rear.
You all pile in to Hollow. Dave, can you tell them what they see as they enter?
Yeah, so the door sort of closes behind you as you walk down here. You hear tense conversation. There's a lot more people in the space than what you're accustomed to in the Hollow. You see gambling tables throughout, a bar at the way back of the Hollow. It's smoky in here. Yeah, and awfully busy. And through the smoke, you start to see a figure moving forward. She's got a cigarette dangling in her fingers. To your right, you see sort of a security desk, and you would see the person whose voice you heard ringing you in is standing there, and he kind of nods to you that you can enter. But you see this figure sort of walking through, smoke kind of enveloping her. She comes out. She's got short gray hair, and like a pretty etched chin. She's got like frown lines. She's probably 60, maybe. Although maybe she just looks older than she is. Time, maybe. Leathery face a little bit. And yeah, she gets to the front of the room, sees you, sees South, and sees Otmar. And she would say, "Mr. Howard and Mr. Ettinger. Good to see your odds have been on this side of living, but the tables are closed. See, we've become a bit of a humanitarian mission here." She kind of grins as she says that, and it seems like sarcasm, maybe some irony as to how the Hollow is a bit of a humanitarian mission. And then she'll look up, because we have a council person with us, right?
Elena, yes?
She'd look up at Elena, and any sense of like a smile from seeing the two of you kind of dims a little bit. And she says, "Looks like you brought a bit of a problem with you, though."
Dear
Elena.
Magnolia. Oh, go ahead. What does Elena say?
Elena was just going to say, I mean, no trouble. Meg, we're just looking for a safe place.
Dear Magnolia, we didn't even know where this place was. I haven't even been here yet. It's marvelous. Elena showed us, guided us here. We may need your humanitarian benevolence tonight.
We've been lucky so far, but it seems like luck is running out. We've got to seal this place up tight. Checking everybody who comes in here, no exceptions. And she looks at the lot of the rest of the people here, Gideon and Ezra and Aiko, and you vouch for these ones?
Oh, I can't wait to tell you about them. They're a special bunch of off-worlders, and that one on young Gideon's lap, that's the long data disk. You heard of that one? Bet there's some secrets in there.
The drinks are on the house for now, for both of you and your friends. But picking's slim. Come on in. But I gotta warn you, if you're coming in here, you're putting you all to work. Nobody's gonna be freeloading.
Megs, in terms of the refugees that are taking shelter within the hollow, who would she have let in? Typically, like anyone who came knocking on her door, or would she have turned people away?
Well, this might be the first council person who she's let in her door, but it might have been the company she was keeping. But I think you'd find people from the lower classes of this colony in this space. She's let in her customers' friends. She's been pretty generous on this fine day. But you can tell she's not terribly happy about it.
Do you think she would have let Dr. Volkov in because she was tending to those people that everyone else seems to have neglected?
Yeah, she might have let this stranger in if the stranger came in with someone in dire need.
And indeed, that would have been the case, most likely, because after she left, or after you left her in the clinic, when she told you guys to get the hell out of here, then she told you that Alex had disappeared. She went off back into the streets to help those who needed help but were abandoned, couldn't move, couldn't fend for themselves. One of them apparently told her about this place, so she helped them get here. And as you walk towards the back of this place, you can see through the smoke-filled room Dr. Volkov doing what she can to tend to the wounded within the place. She's using anything she can, ripped up shirts, old rags, whatever, to act as bandages, piece of broken wood or steel to act as splints, whatever she can do in this really makeshift clinic that she kind of set up back here.
Can I roll off the data disk and kind of set it to the side and go and help Dr. Volkov?
Mags, you got a safe we can put this in?
Absolutely. Keep that nice and cozy for you.
Eggs, where do you actually take it? You take this thing. This thing is quite heavy.
Oh, she doesn't take it. She would probably nod over to someone else. You might hear her say, "Lockjaw, get over here." And you might see one of her bouncers come forward, fairly large individual, and she'd tell him, "Bring it out back. Tell Half Pint, put it in the safe."
Will do, ma'am. And he takes this large data disk and just kind of lumbers to the back. It kind of throws it over one shoulder. Just disappears into a back room.
Don't worry. Your precious disc is safe with us. For now.
Dr. Volkov sees you, and Gideon, you're approaching her. She sees you, Gideon, and says, "Oh, thank the heavens you found your way here. How are you all doing?" And she looks past you and sees Ezra in dire shape. Says, "I swear to God, he still won't let me help him, will he?" And
Oh, you'll have to convince him. I'm not going to do that.
Where you need a hand, Dr. Volkov. I see you got a lot of people and know a little bit. Maybe I can help.
Of course. And she directs you to an older woman who fell badly and kind of has a pretty bad broken arm. She's kind of holding it. She says, if you could fashion a splint for her, that would be great. And I can move on to the next person. She keeps looking back at you, Ezra, though, and she just keeps shaking her head.
Ezra steps back into the shadows of a corner by the group, and yeah, he'll give her a glare and then step back into the shadows. He doesn't need her eyeballing her. He does not need her eyeballing him.
Mags might take note of this and be like, is that a synthetic you brought in here with you? Under normal circumstances, you know I'd allow those types in here. Not good for the odds.
That right here's the hero of Baxter's Reach. Go talk to him.
She might do that. We don't see too many of your kind. And certainly not in here. Too good at the blackjack table. Real good at counting cards.
I don't play those games.
Too bad. You would clean up with it. Could work for me, even. Would come with an arrangement.
Maybe.
Put you behind a table, have you a deal for me.
No. Not my thing.
Too bad. Lots of profit in it. Sure, it would pay for whatever upgrades you require or repairs. I might even know a guy.
I'm pretty self-sufficient.
Not looking too sufficient right now, my friend. Just gonna say it plainly.
Just need some time. Give us that time. Your establishment here.
That ain't up to me. That ain't in the cards, you see. Depends on the deck we've been dealt. Only time will tell on that one.
Fixing to stay here, or are you fixing to leave with the rest?
That's a really good question. I think we're looking to reinforce this place if we can. Kinda hold out. We're in a tight spot, there's no question, but we just don't survive. We adapt here in the Hollow.
Good luck with that.
Oh, are you going to play a role?
Nope. I got other plans.
Too bad. Hope you find the luck you need.
Nope. Sometimes you make your luck.
House always wins, buddy. She'll walk away and head towards Otmar south and say something like,
Otmar can tell how that interaction went. He's shaking his head.
I don't think he's ever rolled the dice. Not that I want him throwing sevens all over the place either.
You can see Elena moving through the crowd, and people, when they see her, some of them are reaching up for her, and she's trying to console them. She's saying, everything will be okay. We'll get through this like we always do. And she approaches you, Megs, and says, now, we may not see eye to eye on many things, but I thank you for taking us in and doing this kindness to the folks of Baxter's Reach.
Kindness, you say? Kindness you haven't showed these folk. I'll tell you that much. You know, they point fingers at me. They point fingers at the Hollow. You point fingers at me in the Hollow. But who's in charge of morality now? Look at what you've done. Look at what you've accomplished. That's all right, though. You're in good company. Go have a drink. This place has been through hell, but we're still here.
You can tell that she's kind of biting her tongue. I appreciate your hospitality, Megs. Of that, there is no doubt. Let's deal with one crisis at a time, and the one before us is quite grave. Do you mean to stay within Baxter's Reach? There's nothing left here. And if what South says is true and that the cooperative are leaving, that could only mean one of two things. that they've abandoned us and won't be back, in which case Baxter's Reach will die a slow and gruesome death, or they're going to come back and wipe us out. Neither of those two options are satisfactory to me. And you can hide down in this hole as long as you want. They'll find you.
This is the most you've ever cared about me. I'm touched. You see, I might have a tear in my eye here. When the Queen walks in, Queen of Spades, I might add, and lays down these kinds of cards in front of me. Oh, gut-wrenching. But I'll be honest with you. I picked up and moved before, all because of you. So, if I've got to do it again, I got to do it again. This world or another. We'll figure it out. But I'm touched by your heartfelt display. Now, if you don't mind, I have work to do. Do you know what work is?
I am being civil because of the generosity you've offered.
You're being
People of this
civil
town.
because you have no other choice. You said it yourself. It's hell up there. That's why you're being civil. But we don't need to get into that, do we? I'll take your civility.
You can
And
just
I'll
see
match it.
she's kind of fuming. You can almost see the smoke coming out of her ears at all this, but she's restraining herself and says, Megs, we all do what we have to survive. And in situations like these, I trust your survival instincts. You're like a goddamn cockroach that just won't die.
Flattery will get you everywhere, baby.
I'll let you call the shots here. But know this, my priority is for the safety of these people. And I don't know where your priorities are. In the past, it always seems to be your wallet, or what you hide in that vault back there. God knows. I don't want to know. If at any point in time I get the impression that you're putting your own self-interest at heart before these good people, I will take you out.
Those are big words. Take me out. In my own home. Under my protection. Don't worry. I'm not what you think I am. I never have been. But you've had it out for me ever since the get-go. Think you'll find that I'm the ace in the hole here. Things will turn out all right.
I hope so. For your sake and everyone in here. And she turns away from you and tries to shake off what seems to be a very awful, stressful conversation that she just had, and attempts to console some more citizens of this town. In the meantime, you see Lockjaw return from the back room, all tidied up.
Exactly what I needed. I think we need to take a defensive position. Do you understand? We're going Fortress Royale here. I need you to take cover behind that table. Flip that craps table over. I need that one, that poker table, the reinforced one. Flip that one over. We're going to get Mercy behind that one. We got to get Bulldog behind that one. Nobody's coming in. Nobody's coming out for a bit. We need some time.
You got it, ma'am. And he just moves past you and starts barking out orders at all the other bouncers and staff. And they start flipping tables. Some of them a little bit overzealously, scaring some of the other people in the back, wondering what the hell's going on. These people are now turning this place upside down. But is there another exit out of the hollow, or is it just the one door?
There is. There are tunnels. Yeah. There's a tunnel inside of Mag's office, sort of a secret exit that goes out into a tunnel system that comes out in different areas of the town.
Yeah.
Not too many people know about it, though.
Before tables start getting flipped and guns start coming out of the woodwork, as these bouncers all become like sudden militia. South, uh, one of the waitresses passes you a drink. Looks like you could use one.
He's going to immediately snatch it and chug it down, like immediately.
And South, you're wounded a little bit, aren't you?
Yeah, I am actually. Yeah, I have 1 hit point left.
Right. I think you got grazed by a bullet.
Yeah.
And she sees this blood kind of. Where do you think that bullet hit you?
I'd say probably in the arm, because I don't remember exactly, but I think it was either when I stood up or when because didn't I fall? Didn't I get tackled? Was that it? Or am
I
I
don't
gonna
think so. I think you just got like someone one of the guards shot at you and
Right.
hit you,
Yeah,
but just
I'll
wounded
say
you.
like right in the inside of my arm.
All right. So this bullet, this wound, the bullet probably went through and through. So it's a clean wound, but you're bleeding profusely out of it. And you've done what you can to wrap it up a little bit. But she notices this and says, "You should get Dr. Volkov to look at that. She's been helping out the folks here. She's really good."
No, well, actually, I am feeling a little lightheaded. And he's gonna kind of call for the doc to come over, and then also tell the waitress to bring him another shot of whiskey.
Pour you another shot. Gideon, you're back there with Dr. Volkov when you hear South call for Dr. Volkov, and she looks back at him. Gideon, dear boy, maybe you can handle this one. I have much more pressing wounds to treat here.
Okay, I can give it a shot. Gonna try and wheel myself over to South.
She dumps a med kit into your lap as you go, and before you go, she just kind of holds your chair there for a brief moment and looks at you right in the eye and says, "Thank you. You have a good soul."
Thanks, I guess. I'm just gonna awkwardly kind of turn and go back to South.
All right.
Mags might approach Gideon, Otmar, and South. Say something like, "Looks like you all got into a bit of a tussle, and my, are those tear tracks I see? What might have caused those tears?"
No. Uh-uh.
Well, how you feeling there, South?
If I'm being honest, Mags, like shit, and I could probably use about 3 or 4 of that bottle of whiskey, 3 or 4 of those shots.
Snaps her fingers. Somebody comes running over with a bottle. Now, it's unlabeled, okay? Mags might be making her own moonshine here. And some dirty shot glasses arrive as well.
South is gonna take a whiff of the bottle and like, Jesus Christ, Mags, were you brewing this shit yourself?
Well, you know, beggars can't be choosers.
That's also fair, and he immediately starts pouring shots.
Worst case scenario, we could use it as disinfectant.
Oh, it's not. I mean, he's going to drink probably most of it.
Oh, well, dang, never mind.
And then South is going to try to she's going to slowly start to unbandage or I guess the makeshift bandages on his arm and show it to Dr. Volkov.
Dr. Volkov didn't go.
No,
She just
yeah.
like it. She's
Yeah.
Kidding.
Nice, dude. How are you still walking?
Adrenaline is a hell of a drug.
Yeah, you got a point there. Okay, let's see what I can do with this.
So as you're attending to South, there's a bit of a ruckus going on at the front of the bars. Tables are being overturned, defensive positions being set up. You see the bouncers checking their weapons, making sure they're loaded up, checking their spare ammo. Ezra, You kind of slunk off into a corner by yourself. Is there anything else you'd like to do, or are you just kind of sitting there observing?
Assessing my own damage and observing the room for any sort of tools or whatever I would need to self-repair.
I'm going to guess, Megs, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but this is a drinking and gambling establishment and not a workshop. But would you have any sort of tools? Do you think that would help Ezra out in terms of repairing himself?
So Mags does have some pretty elaborate surveillance gear and equipment, various electronics used for that, and a bunch of old salvage stuff that no longer works or has been used for parts. So there might be some of that. But beyond that, no. If she was, I mean, based on her conversation too with Ezra, I think she walked away a little impressed with his self-sufficient demeanor. She might ask one of her staff to go fetch whatever crap she might have lying around and bring it to him.
You just need a shift of work. It's going to be a few hours
Mhm.
for you to sit in this corner and start patching yourself up.
Yep.
The hollow sits below ground. There are no windows. There are ventilation shafts, and you can see the fans above you kind of pumping air in. You can hear outside what sounds to still be a sound, voices yelling, screaming. But over time, they start to fade and things go quiet. Now, you guys have enough time here to relieve your stress. And as we spoke about earlier, if you want to try to spend some of your experience points here to gain a new talent or to up a skill, you can do so. But while you guys are looking over your options to level, Megs, can you describe what is in your back office in terms of, you mentioned there's an entrance to secret tunnels there, there's a safe back there. What else is back there?
So there is Mad Mag's desk, office chair. Immediately behind the office chair is the safe. Behind the safe is the entrance to the tunnels. Pretty heavy. Got to move that safe to get to those tunnels. They use it never, but it's there in case of emergency, where they've got to escape that way. Very few people know about it. There's probably some bookshelves in there, and her finest homebrews or moonshine is stored back there as well.
Okay.
And there may be some recreational drugs as well.
Of course. And you mentioned that she has some sophisticated surveillance equipment.
Well, sophisticated by her standards. So she's got a Segson PDAT that she leverages, and she hands out like earpieces to her staff. And some of them have cameras as well, so she can pull it up on her PDAT and sort of get situational awareness from the PDAT.
Okay.
From her office. This is sort of what she traditionally would do. But she does carry it with her.
Okay. And would you say that is she off grid, for example, or would she be hooked into the Comtech systems of Baxter's Reach?
It's a great question. I think she'd be off grid for the most part, deliberately trying to be hooked into the power grid, though, but trying to be air gapped.
Okay. So you guys spend the better part of 4 to 6 hours just recuperating here, repairing yourself. You guys are back to full health, no stress. You're in a safe place, free flowing moonshine, and everything seems quiet.
Does anyone else find that it's really creepy that it's quiet outside?
Did we ever hear the cooperative ship? Did we ever hear it take off or anything like that, or did it just completely just go quiet?
Yes, you would have heard the engines of a ship lifting off for sure. It would have been loud enough, and you would probably even felt the vibrations in the hollow.
Cowards, you hear that? Cowards. But I'll drink to them leaving.
Well, Max, them leaving may not be a good thing necessarily. From what we saw at the uh, place, the bugs are drawn to, I guess, vibrations or the sounds of engines running. So you may want to kind of maybe batten down the hatches a little bit.
Oh, we've got them battened down. I wouldn't worry about that.
Yeah,
You know,
South is also leaving out the part that we learned the hard way. They got acid inside of them or something like that. I don't know how bad down you can be against that.
well, I suppose sometimes when you're facing long odds, the smartest move might be to walk away. Perhaps there's something to what they're doing. I think we might want to send a scout party outside, get a sense of what's going on, know exactly what sort of cards we're playing with.
South is going to look up at the air vents. And are the air vents big enough for...
How many passengers can fit on that ship of yours, Ezra?
Yeah, I
A
think it
lot.
might just be time to get out of here.
Everybody in this room plus times 2.
So Max, he's good. So the Otmar would tell Max about the ship at some point, if she didn't already know, which probably she would know.
So
What I heard this thing was out of commission. I was surprised to hear this is an option on the table. Ezra, is it? You think that ship of yours is something that might be able to take flight again?
Crew on board is working on it. That's the plan.
Yeah, maybe we can get everybody down here and whoever else we can find. We can get off of here before whatever happens.
Well, I'd kind of like to know what sort of cards we're playing with here, though. I think a scout party would be nice. That said, I know you gotta trust your gut when it comes down to these sort of situations. What's your guts telling you?
My gut's telling me you need to batten down the ventilation
We should
system.
secure the ship. I think a scouting party is a good way to get started on that problem. If you're willing to help us, Max, you have my word. We're willing to help you too.
She'll look at South, say there's not much I can do about that ventilation system. But I do have a back way out of here if we want to send a scouting party. We want to go have a look at what may be going on. Maybe get to that ship of yours, Mr. Ezra.
Andrew, I'm trying to look up what ship we have just to validate my claim about how many people can fit on it.
yeah, it's only a SEV. It's only meant to have 18 people would be maximum.
Really? All right, retcon that real quick. Everybody in this room, and when Gideon says, and maybe we can go find someone else, Ezra shoots him a look like, no.
Yeah, you could carry more, but they just wouldn't have anywhere secured. They'd be flying
Yeah.
around all over the place, so it's
Yeah.
not very safe.
Yeah. All right. How many people are in this room right now, including the injured?
What is? I'll leave that up to Megs. How much?
There's probably a good close to 30, I'd say. Close to 30.
All right.
A lot
Half the-
injured, though.
Half the people in this room. My answer. And I shoot Gideon a look when he says, "Find more."
Well, I mean, not all of us need to be defeated. It's just going up, right? I'm sure we could take everybody.
Where are we gonna go next? There ain't nowhere to go. Wouldn't want
Where's
to
it?
bop around there, bump your head. time we change trajectory, it'd be a nightmare. Fate worse than death.
Well, I mean, like, wasn't Akko talking about how there was a whole mothership thingamabob up there? Then it wouldn't be long, right? Just straight up, and we'd be there, and everyone will be okay.
What would Aiko say to that?
Something
Uh,
witty and snarky.
Probably. I'm going to say Aiko is still in a state of shock this entire time, and he's just kind of holding on to a glass of whiskey. It was on the rocks, but now it's all melted.
We totally have enough room for everybody.
Ugh.
He would be grinning at the citations he'd be giving at a crowded ship.
If he's actually in that state, Mags might look at Otmar and say, "What's got him? All bent out of shape."
He's just a little bit high strung. That's
A little
all.
bit. Stick so far up his ass he can't sit down. What are you talking about? A little bit.
Looks a little
He'll settle
shell-shocked.
down. He'll settle down. He's got a good head on those shoulders. You know what I mean?
So what do you say? If you say you can fit 18 people, that's you, those you choose here, Mr. Ezra, and me, and some of my best crew.
Don't forget Gideon's kin.
Mm-hmm. My sisters should be hopefully waiting there.
That's what we told him.
Ezra, don't forget that you have about 9 crew members already on board.
Right.
Ooh. Well.
It's gonna be tight.
This wasn't the diplomatic package.
Okay. Lockjaw comes back to you, Megs, and says, "Ma'am, I don't hear anything out there. You want me to take a few and take a look around?"
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, Lockjaw. Although, I think I'd kind of rather you at my side. Send Grease, 5-spot, and Lucky Bastard. Go have a good look outside. They'll
Right.
need all the luck they can get.
He yells across the bar, "You heard her, boys. Get a move on." And you can see 3 individuals pick up their assault rifles and make their way out the door.
Sadly, we've gotten accustomed to this sort of heavy equipment. Thanks to, and then she sort of looks over at Elena, the council, but it is what it is. Seeming to come in handy at this moment.
He walks over to you, Megs, and says, "You're going to have to crawl out of your hole one day, Megs. And I pray that the sun don't burn you on the spot like some old vampire that you are. I know you are."
Careful, honey. You're on my turf here. You'll be bleeding chips before I'm done with you if you don't silence yourself.
All I'm saying is, we've been down here the better part of a day. These folks are getting hungry. Now, they can't live off whiskey and your moonshine alone. They're going to need some food. And maybe a place to lie down that isn't covered in a layer of ash and dirt.
Ash and dirt that the real people of this settlement have had to live under for a long time. But I agree with you. We're gonna need some grub. You got a source?
Well, maybe when your boys come back, send out, and if things are safe, maybe we can send out some scavenging parties, see what we can dig up. We have some stores, but we need a plan. We can't live like this forever. They need hope. They need a plan. We need to figure out what we're going to do with these people. And I've heard you talking about this ship, this crashed SEV out there, but 18 people, and she's looking around the room. That ain't going to take everyone.
You're right. And we need a plan. You're the council. Aren't these your people? Isn't this your settlement? Lead on, sister.
Oh,
find us a
so
way.
I see how it goes. When it comes to making the hard decisions, that's when magical Miss Megs disappears.
Oh, oh, honey. Hard decisions you don't understand. You never have. You sit up there in your ivory tower inside those council chambers. You drink your fancy wine and your fancy drinks. I've had about enough of you. You're about to meet Spade if you keep going this way. I suggest you either rally folks to your cause or you get out.
I see how it is. I could tell the very nature hasn't changed. It's always been what we thought it was. You resort to violence and treachery if you don't get your way. You would hold the entire population of Baxter's Reach hostage. Get what you want.
I know enough to never trust a player as too eager to win it all. That doesn't strike me as you. No, no. It's the ones who hold a good hand you gotta watch for, and when they cross you, well, and then she'll sort of tap Spade on her side. Look, we don't need to quarrel about this. Let's just find a way out of here. See what the search party finds, and we'll get out.
It's maybe 5 minutes after this conversation where you guys hear desperate pounding on the door. Lockjaw
Uh,
just looks back at you, Megs.
Pull up the camera, find out who's out there.
All right. You can pull out your personal device there, and you can see from it. It looks like what was his name? Lucky Bastard. Perhaps not so lucky. Looks like he is missing an arm now, and with his one good arm, he's just yelling, "Let me in! Let me in!"
Take a defensive position and open the door.
So your crew hide behind the upturned tables, all pull out their assault rifles aimed at the door while Lockjaw opens it. Lucky Bastard just falls and collapses on the ground, bleeding everywhere, mumbling, gurgling almost as blood comes spitting up out of his mouth. Something attacked us. Oh, fuck's sakes, I don't know what it was. That's you thought that's not, it ain't human. I don't know what it is. It ain't safe out there. It's been tearing people apart limb to limb. The other, I was lucky to get away.
What about Grease and Five Spot? What happened to them?
They didn't make it. One, Grease got his head pulled right off.
As South hears this, he's gonna turn around from the bar and look at Otmar and Gideon Ezra and go, Is it Alex? Could he still be just running around out there as whatever he is now?
Did he follow us here somehow?
I didn't see him. I didn't see him behind us. But I mean, it was chaos up there.
Can I run up to Lucky Bastard and see if I can at least help stop the bleeding or something?
Or go ahead and make a medicine check. He is considered broken with a fatal wound. He will die. You manage to put a tourniquet on to stop the bleeding. Maybe with the help of a hot iron or something, you manage to cauterize the wound so it doesn't bleed out. The pain's enough to he passes out though, but he'll live. He will live.
I didn't know a person could do something like this. Well, how did he even get sick? Nothing. He just hid under a table at the neuroplasm factory. How did he even get this way?
How did Alex get sick? Come to think of it, we left neuroplasm, went back to the ship, and wasn't he throwing up in the bathroom before we left to come back to here?
Volkov says, well, he and that girl went down those stairs to examine those things down there.
Yeah, but didn't Gideon go down there too?
He's right.
Ezra looks at Gideon suspiciously.
What? What? I got something on me? What?
No, not. Gideon wasn't there. It was the other woman. Done got killed, the off-worlder. Those scientists got to get their vials out taking samples everywhere. He was one of them. There's a lot we don't know about what's out there. But it sounds like it ain't too good.
I know when I saw Alex banging on the door, he was starting to look like not human. Like he had this huge bulge coming out the back of his head. His head was like, I don't know, man.
So how can we get to the ship?
Dr. Volkov kind of worms away into your little circle of conversation. If that truly is Alex, it is our duty and obligation to try and save him.
Doc, respectfully,
If by saving him you mean putting him out of his misery, I'm all for it.
I agree with Otmar on that.
Sometimes it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, I'm with them. We don't even know if this stuff is contagious. We don't even know if it spreads to other people.
With all
Let's
due
hope.
respect, Doctor, I think you might as well bet on a dead horse there.
What's a dead horse got to do with it?
Lousy bet.
Oh.
Dr. Volkov says, well, did you manage to save the long data disk, did you not?
Yeah. Ezra was able to
Babe.
pull it out.
Baby, shut up.
Maybe there's some information on there that might help us. Tell us what happened to Alex, what happened to the neuroplasm plant.
And she's got a point.
Right.
Maybe we can find out more on that disc.
Hey, Gideon. Get over here.
Okay.
Turns his back on the group. Gideon, wheel over.
Yeah.
Ezra will bend down out of earshot and say, stop telling information to the doctor. Do you understand?
Wow, dude, no, not really.
Just do what I'm saying if you want to get off this planet.
Damn. Okay. I guess. Y'all right?
Ezra will stand up straight and walk back into the vicinity of the doctor to overhear the conversation, but Ezra's in no way looking to engage the doctor in conversation.
Well, the
Rude.
doctor was looking at the two of you as you kind of wheeled off to have this private conversation. She's just kind of looking at the two of you.
She can look all she wants as long as she didn't hear what I had to say. She can eyeball whatever she wants to eyeball.
No, she didn't
Yeah,
hear.
flips him off.
My back was turned, and
Listening
she
well?
she was looking at my synthetic butt.
Well, we have a few options here. We are stuck in this place. No offense, Miss Meggs. It's a wonderful establishment, and thank you so much for hosting us. We cannot live the rest of our days down here. There's something out there, and if it is Alex, I'd like to know how we can save him. Now, you need to get back to your ship, Mr. Ezra, to finish your repairs on it, if I'm not mistaken, so that you can rescue all of us. Before we go, I'd like to know what is happening here. What has happened to Baxter's Reach? He looks over at Aiko, who is still drowning his sorrows, I'm assuming. As a member of this delegation, I was tasked with reestablishing contact with Baxter's Reach, understand the trials and tribulations and how you survived the last 75 years in isolation. So, tell me, where is the long data disk?
Why did you sabotage the ship?
Excuse me?
You heard me.
Wait, what? What? When was this?
Now, why would I sabotage the ship?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Doesn't add up, does it?
No, it certainly does not. And even if I did, how would you know?
Oh, I know some things. And I know you sabotaged the ship, so I asked you why.
I can assure you I did no such thing. I wouldn't even know how to if I wanted. And why would I do so? Strand myself here on this planet with no way home? It makes no sense. Now, the only person in this room that I know of that could do such a thing is their pilot.
He definitely could, but he was a pilot. He'd have lots of ways to bring that bird down.
What if he wanted it to look like an accident?
Make it look like Dr. Volkov did it.
Perhaps.
Who
For some
pointed
reason,
this?
Mr. Ezra has never trusted me since the moment I set foot on his ship.
Sounds like he had good reason.
It is simply my word against his. Now I am not casting any particular dispersions against good old Mr. Ezra. Or I'm sure he is a good pilot, chosen specifically for the Great Mother mission in this particular delegation. So I have no reason to doubt his intentions, but I'm surprised that you all question mine when I have done nothing but try to help these people.
Why do you ask about the data disk?
That is why we are here. That is why the delegation arrived here to reestablish contact, understand what happened in the isolation, and to see how we can help. That is the point of this mission.
Look how well your mission turned out.
And whose fault is that? How was I supposed to predict that our ship would mysteriously crash, that we would be assaulted by acid popping beetles, that there would be a hostile cooperative faction in play that would cause civil unrest within this colony? And now we have a very sick man wandering the streets. And here we are, we find ourselves in a basement.
You're
huddling in fear.
connected to the hooded figure. I know you are.
I'm with Doc on this one. Who the hell are you talking about? What the hell is even going on, man?
Otmar's wide-eyed. He's looking around. There's nobody backing him up, and he moves away. Looks away.
Otmar, are you okay? Do you see some?
Some here don't add up. That's all I know.
Okay.
May I make a suggestion then? Let us all look at this long data disk together. As I mentioned, I have nothing to hide. Mr. Ezra, would that be okay with you?
No.
Then tell me, Mr. Ezra, what would you rather have us do?
I don't owe you any answers. He looks at the room and says, y'all can stay here, survive as long as you can under that doctor's care, and get on board my ship, leave this place, and find safety. Those are your choices.
Ezra, I would advise you that if you were to do such a thing and maroon your fellow delegates on this island, that is grounds for a court martial, and because you are synthetic, that could result in your decommissioning.
Not my fellow delegates, just you, Doctor.
I'm still a delegate, member of this delegation, and there are witnesses here.
He looks around. Ooh.
Aiko, will you not write up another one of your infamous citations for this obvious breach of protocol and insubordination?
That's a great question.
Akko was actually writing that stuff up. I thought it was bluffing.
So here we are. Then, Miss Meggs, do you have the equipment within this fine establishment to perhaps connect to the long dated so that we can peruse its contents?
If her PDAT can do that, perhaps. She might look at Ezra and say, I'm not the techie type, but sure you are. You might be able to rig something to this.
Maybe.
Seems we're in a bit of a quagmire here. Dependent on this very synthetic to see this data disk that you so desperately want us to see in an audience format, and he's not complying.
May I remind everybody, there is still something out there trying to kill us.
Now, and she's going to look down at what's his name?
I got too many.
Lucky bastard. Lucky bastard.
Lucky bastard.
Go look down at Lucky bastard.
Game.
Is he conscious?
Drifting in and out of consciousness.
She's going to lean down and look over at South. Pass me that hooch over there.
South is going to grab it and take a swig of it and pass it back to Mags.
She's gonna slap Lucky bastard in the face, and lean him up against the wall, waking him up. Hand him that bottle, and she's gonna ask him, "Tell me again, how many of these things were out there?"
I honestly don't know, ma'am. It happened all so fast. One for sure. It felt like there must have been at least half a dozen.
Useless.
South is going to ask Lucky Bastard, what did you happen to see any, like, was it wearing like clothes or anything like that?
Yeah. He was wearing some sort of khaki kind of shirt, but it's all ripped up. But the thing, it didn't look human, man. It had like, its head was the size of like a balloon. It was just, and it, no hair, blue, ugly ass veins popping out everywhere. Just, I didn't get a really good look at it because, like, I mean, the first thing he did was just like out of the shadows, just getting a massive hand, just ripped Grease's head clean right off. And then he went after whatever the other guy's name was.
Did anyone get a shot at him?
I think I fired my weapon, man, before I dropped it and ran. Well, it literally ripped the gun and arm off me before I ran.
Well, it sounds like it was definitely Alex. So,
What if instead of we just kind of put the whole this stuff on the back burner and just focus on getting to the ship without Alex noticing or whatever he is?
I got a way that can get us close to the outskirts of town. We'll have to find transport to move swiftly from there, though. And I'm going to need to bring some of my staff to lug that thing. We're going to be moving quick and quiet like need some muscle with us. I think it might also be helpful.
Can you analyze it while we're on the move?
She'll look at Ezra.
Ezra nods.
You heard her. Pack it up.
Volkov says, so let me get this straight here. We are running away, which, okay. What about Alex? We're just going to leave him here?
100%. Yep. I think that's the game plan. Yeah. I think Alex has been dead weight. Well, now he is actually dead weight, but yeah, he has provided nothing to the team.
Yeah, it's that, what's it called? The karmic stuff coming back to get him.
Human being.
That's not human. What I saw banging on the door was not human. And whatever ripped this lucky bastard's arm off.
Ms. Volkov, if you would like to consult with the patient, I will gladly escort you to him.
Well, he clearly is hostile and dangerous. Needs to be subdued. Will you assist in that matter, Mr. Otmar?
No, I don't.
So then you would effectively try to lead me to my death. Wonderful.
Dr. Volkov, I've got to tell you, Lucky Bastard didn't get that name for nothing. I sent him out there for a reason, along with the rest of them. One of the best shots I got. He never misses. If he didn't have a moment, what makes you think you do? Or any of us for that matter.
Well, do you have anything in your incredibly suspicious arsenal that could subdue someone rather than outright kill them?
She might start rattling off various narcotics that she has in stock. But you see, most of that takes a little bit of time. And I'm not sure how you're going to dose it.
Dr. Volkov, not to be rude or anything, there's a whole bunch of people that are hurt. We bring them along, that might just get even more people hurt or killed.
Well, that's my whole point. Is I need to understand the threat. Our immediate threat right now is Alex. He
At this
stands
point,
with.
go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
At this point, I think South is going to kind of look at Otmar and look back at the dock and be kind of on Otmar's side about suspicions. Like, what are you going to do? What are you going to trank the fucking thing and drag it with us down in the tunnels so you can study it? What's the game plan here?
Perhaps we can cure him, understand his ailment, and reverse its effects.
His body is no longer human. You're not going to undo that.
Ma'am, the juice just ain't worth the squeeze.
So tell me, if this was your brother, your father, your son, you wouldn't try?
Oh,
Well,
if it was my dad, I'd leave him behind without a second thought.
yeah, me and my dad really didn't get along, so kind of wouldn't be the worst thing.
People.
I mean,
You
God,
people are
hit him
despicable. You people are absolutely despicable.
Man, maybe you should go.
Yeah, what Almar said. Maybe you should go. That's a good idea. I like that idea.
Well, hang on. You can't just go out there on our own. He's the only doctor here. I sure as hell can't do surgery.
I mean, I just find it very suspicious that you want to bring this thing with us when it's actively trying to rip limbs off. Sorry, Lucky. It's not. I'm not going out there. I'm not. I'm going with
Yeah.
Ezra to the ship. So
Fine. Fine. You're absolutely right. Our immediate concern is the safety of the people here. We'll get them all to the ship, get them evacuated, and the Great Mother mission will likely send another exploratory mission back here to pick up any other further survivors and perhaps rescue Alex.
see, Doc, you can just be on that ship and you can just come back with him. See?
I admire your optimism.
He looks at you, Gideon, and says, "Frankly, I'm disappointed. I thought you, of all people, would have understood."
I mean, I get where you're coming from, but we don't know what's going on with him. And I understand wanting to know, but especially with all these people here who are hurt. I mean, poor lucky bastard is um I can't say his name without giggling. Is poor lucky bastard is barely hanging in there. I can't fucking walk. If there's a risk if we try and go out and capture him, more people will get hurt or killed, or if we bring him back, he'll just kill all of us here. And like I get wanting to know what's going on. I want to know what's going on too. People are talking about things I ain't never heard of. Um, but it might be best to focus on the people here, getting them off, and then maybe sending a bunch of people with a bunch of guns to kind of deal with him.
Fine. I see your point, and I agree. Our first priority is to get these people to safety. Second priority, get the ship operational. Third priority, look at that long data disk and analyze it for clues as to what happened here. And fourth, rescue anyone we can't that is left behind.
Why do you need to know from the long data disk what happened here when you're standing full of room?
That's the
People
whole
who've lived
point of
here.
this mission.
Excuse me, I was speaking. When you're in a room with people who have lived here for generations, why don't you just ask them?
A long data disk goes back beyond the memories of any living person in this room. And it is an accurate, factual estimate as to what happened here. not tainted by false memories or clouded memories or hand-me-down stories. Cold data.
Ezra looks at the crowd while the doctor says that.
You can see Mags is getting really annoyed.
Does that use that cryptocurrency?
That bit.
I mean, the least we could do is give Lucky Bastard a hand.
Quite literally.
Let's
The
get
more
to the
I hear
ship
from
then.
you, Doctor, the more I don't want to hear from you.
Fine. Clearly, you will not listen to reason, humanity, or what this whole Great Mother mission is about, as she looks glaringly at you, Ezra. By the way, you will be written up, and you can kiss your career goodbye. If you're lucky. That's all you'll lose.
I've been chewed out before.
But I clearly am not respected here. My opinion's not of any consequence, so I'll leave it to you to decide our collective fate.
Mags will pull up a chair right next to her. Say, so tell me again. Tell me about this. These poor memories that us here in this dirty basement have. Tell me more about humanity and how you're here to save us all. After what? When exactly did you abandon us? Because our short-term memory doesn't even recall it. Somehow, though, we beat the odds. That's what you're here to find out? How do we beat the odds? Is that what you're here to gather? Is that the data you need?
That is part of it. But tell me, I mean, the isolation lasted 75 years. And Miss Meggs, you certainly look good for your age, whatever age that might be. But I can guarantee you, you are not 75 years old. You were not here when the isolation occurred. So you would have only heard stories of it, perhaps from your mother or your grandmother. Now, can you tell me what happened to the neuroplasm plant? Why was it closed down?
No, I can't. You're right about that. I think you're right about that, but I could tell you why we've survived. I can give you a grim and detailed description of how this dirty colony has made it down here. You know, and it started like this, and she's going to pull out her revolver spade and put it to the doctor's head and cock it. Started just like this. She's waiting for, like, a reaction. Anything.
Irina just looks at you and says, I traveled across the galaxy.
Trigger pulled.
All right. Make that empathy check for me, please. Or actually, you don't need to, do you?
Nope. Merciless.
Holy shit.
All right. All right. Irina slumps forward onto the table that she was sitting at. You hear screams kind of coming from the back of the room. Your bouncers all are on high alert now. They all have their weapons ready for any sign of anyone moving against their boss. Elena,
I can tell when someone's trying to double cross the house. And her stories don't add up. We gotta get out of here now, though. I think this noise might be attracting some unwanted attention. And what does Elena say?
Elena is just in shock, but she just finally finds the words to say, I expected no less from you, Megs.
She would have had you just as quickly. That's not one to trust. I could tell you a thing or two about trust if you like. But let's get out of here. No time to waste.
Otmar would say to South, old Mags ain't lost her touch.
South is just gonna look back at Otmar. No, she definitely is not.
Ezra will look at Otmar, South, Mags, and says, "Whatever's on that disc belongs to you."
You hear that, Mags? That's as close as he come to a compliment.
You might grin. Lockjaw, get the disc.
All right. And so Lockjaw moves past you all to the back office. You hear him open the vault.
Come this way. She might move to the back into the office. She's sort of ushering everybody who's able to come.
I'm going
And
to
those who are not, she might look back and ask one of her other, or a couple other staff. She might say something like, she might indicate that they'll be back. They're going on a scouting mission, take care of the wounded. Well, she's clearly bluffing. Well, to those observant enough, she's definitely bluffing.
Right. With the long data disk, Lockjaw has it still. There are other items in the safe too, probably of monetary value. Did you want to clean it out and take it all?
Mags will take anything. Wait a minute. What happened, South? Didn't you have like a piece of ore or something that you lost?
Yeah. I definitely dropped it.
No, you didn't.
Oh, I
That's the
did.
One, that's the one thing you have not dropped.
Oh, okay. All right. Because if you had, it might have been in that safe. Somebody might have gambled it and lost to the house. No, but she'll pull out trinkets worth, cash, whatever she can muster. And she might look around to see if everybody's armed.
I got one just like you, Mags, and he's revolver.
Ezra still has a gun in his inventory. I can't remember if I dropped it or hung onto it after the firefight.
I think you kept it.
All right. Yep. Ezra doesn't like guns, believe it or not. He puts it on the table.
South shows his revolver and looks at Mags and goes, but I know you got the stash here. Obviously, any other firepower you could spare, we could take.
You got any armor, Mags?
She points to her suit. It's all the armor I need.
No, I mean for me.
Sorry, darling. Despite what you've seen here, we're not quite accustomed to combat. That said, I might be all out of rifles. I'm figuring the last party to go out and get slaughtered might have taken the best. So what she's got left is equivalent to what you all already have. What about Gideon? What's Gideon got?
He still has his oh crap, what's it called? His stun baton.
Zapper.
She might grab some of the recreational drugs that she's got in there as well.
Okay.
Just to bring along.
Well, Ezra did put his gun on a table, Gideon, if you want to take it.
Yep.
I think Gideon's had enough with guns. He's fine.
I seen that man with the gun. You gotta be careful.
All right. So with the vault or safe empty, Lockjaw is still holding on to the long data disk, so he's going to come with you, unless someone else wants to take it and you order him to stay behind.
No, we'll bring Lockjaw, and she's running out of security here. She's leaving a couple folks, so she's gonna look over a half pint and say, "Half pint, you come with us. Half pint and Lockjaw coming along."
And if you need, Gideon can hold the disc if someone's able to kind of push him. He can hold it so that way Lockjaw can do his stuff.
Oh, that's right. You're sitting down.
At some point, Aiko pulled out a comms device and was talking about making a bomb to somebody back, to an engineer back on the ship.
Mm-hmm.
Does Ezra have one of those comm devices?
You probably have a way to communicate with the people back on the ship. I'll say you do. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll try to. I assume we're in some sort of underground.
Yeah. It's effectively a
bunker.
bunker, you guys. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll as this is sort of unwinding, Ezra will wander back into the shadows a little bit and try to chirp the comms device to the engineer on the ship.
Yep. You
Get
get
who that was.
the signal's a little weak and a little broken, being the fact that you're underground, but you do get a weak signal out.
Did the
Yes.
engineer that we were communicating with have a name?
What was his name again? Carl?
Carl, Connor. Yeah, I remember
I think it
something
was
with
Carl.
C.
I think it was
Carl,
Carl.
yeah.
Carl.
Carl, it's Ezra. How's progress?
It's going good, Captain. We're doing the best we can. The we do need some parts though that aren't readily available. Like there's some reinforcing struts that we just can't improvise here. We need some materials.
Make it work, Carl. Don't leave the ship. Be ready in 24 hours.
Aye, aye, Captain.
And Carl, if you want to leave this planet, don't do anything Ico tells you to do. Understand?
What should I do with the bomb, sir?
Disable it, stick it in the broom closet by the main bridge.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Good job, Carl.
Thank you,
See you.
sir.
23 hours, 56 seconds.
Sir, over and out.
Over and out.
So you guys are going to try and get out of the hollow now?
Wander back to the table.
Yeah, I think Mags would have Lockjaw push the safe aside, revealing the back exit through these tunnels. And she'd ask Halfpint to take the lead.
Half Pint crawls through. Now, these tunnels, how large are they?
I think there's parts of them that open up to be big enough to walk through. Parts of them, yeah, you've got to sort of crawl through. A little bit of a mix.
All right. So basically, Gideon, you cannot take your chair. Someone's going to have to carry you.
Well, this is awkward.
Or you can crawl, but just at a very slow pace.
Does the chair fold up?
Yeah, it'll fold up. But it's a little unwieldy to be dragging
Slow going.
chair through these tunnels on top of Gideon. I mean, Gideon, you can still move. It's just that you're like your half your torso is bandaged up, right? And you don't want to open up those stitches by moving around too much.
I can do it. No.
We fashion a sling and drag Gideon.
Oh, God damn it.
Just trying to prove our pace a little bit, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm sure there's enough like tablecloths or something in this establishment that you can use as a sling or towel or something.
All right, so Otmar will try to haul the sling.
How embarrassing.
All right, Half Pint is first, followed by.
Mags would insist on taking the rear.
Where do you want Lockjaw?
Is Lockjaw carrying that thing at this point? Since Gideon is probably not carrying
Yeah.
that thing, right?
Yeah, I can't carry it now.
She'd want Lockjaw close, so she'd have Lockjaw with her, carrying that bisque. She's not fully trusting of Ezra just yet. Trying to figure Ezra out.
Where's South at?
South is going to be walking with Ezra because South wants to kind of talk to Ezra and figure out, now that the doctor's gone, like what their beef was about. Like try to figure out what Ezra knows.
I'm trying to think who I told. I told Otmar and I told Ico. At some point, I thought Gideon overheard, but apparently not.
I don't think I did.
But I will definitely share with South that looking at the ship's logs after the crash, I was able to determine that the doctor was the one that sabotaged the ship, and Andrew helped me out. She also did something with the comms system on the planet. She disabled the outbound comms from the planet, or the inbound.
Outbound, but
Yeah.
you had no indication that she was the one who did that. That
Oh,
was
okay.
just
It just, I knew it was done.
yeah.
Yeah. So I'll share with South that I saw in the ship's logs that the doctor had sabotaged the ship. It brought it down, and that we were unable to communicate off the planet, but cause undetermined.
South is just going to look visibly confused at this point. Like, what is going on? Just like lost.
Somebody wanted to sow some pretty significant confusion into this humanitarian mission.
Why would the doc sabotage her own ship? Why? And how did Aiko not know about this? Why would I? What is going on? What is on this disc? We've got to figure that out.
All right. So as you make your way through these tunnels, Elena is not coming with you. I'm assuming you don't want her to follow.
And I don't
No?
It's like Elena.
Does she express an interest in coming with us?
Well, she wants to understand what you guys are doing. Is this a scouting mission you're undergoing?
That's what. Oh, but they're bringing me along, so maybe no.
That's what she's confused about. She does not look like a scouting mission here.
An optimized scouting party.
This is the getting the fuck out of Dodge party. This is what this is.
Time to go.
Well, that's her question. Is like, where are you all going? With the long data disk? With a wounded?
To the ship, Elena. We're going to the ship. Where have you
So-
been?
Why are you not inviting the rest of us?
There's just
Why
ain't no
are-
room. Ain't no room
Yeah.
on the boat.
We're going to send another ship down to pick you guys up.
Just simple physics. There just ain't enough room. We gotta go, and then we gotta send another one back.
Then wouldn't y'all be faster? Y'all just let me here, and then y'all get to the ship, and then come on back.
Yeah, keep talking. You got a really good point.
Shut up.
Mags
them
is
get-
pretty practical. She's kind of nodding. She's like,
How about this then? To ensure that you will come back, how about you leave the long data disk here?
Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
I thought you were
Apparently,
gonna
I'm
say
not allowed
leave
to.
Gideon here.
I mean, honestly, I'd rather die here than have to live with whatever this bullshit is.
Do you want to
Fucking
stay?
I mean, y'all might be faster, especially with whatever the hell Alex is outside. Not having to lug me around.
That wasn't the question.
What about your sisters, Gideon?
Ain't they gonna be waiting for you? They'll be scared if you ain't there with them.
Oh, so you mean your sisters? If they're still alive out there with that monster running around, tearing people apart limb from limb, you
They're
mean
fine.
to leave Baxter's Reach with them?
Did you want a spot on the waiting list?
I want to ensure that every person here gets off this planet. And if it means keeping that long data disk here as a bargaining chip, that's what I'll do. Now, you're the ones with all the guns, so obviously, if you decide to force the issue, I can't do anything about it.
Force the issue. The data disk is ours. There's no forcing going on here. You're just in the way.
I helped you retrieve it.
Yeah,
Ezra will look at Elena and say, whoever is trying to sabotage this mission was using that doctor as a tool, as an implement of chaos. Whoever is out there trying to mess with all your lives is still somewhere out there Trying to do it.
You can come with us, but you gotta be practical. Can't take this whole planet on board the first load. Gotta make hard choices, and I don't know if you're ready for that.
I've been head of the council for more years than I've made hard choices, believe me. Now you look me straight in the eye, Otmar. You tell me, give me your word that you will be back to save these here good folk that you were born amongst and lived with your entire life.
Of course, I'm gonna have to check on old Jarvis.
I'm not talking about your worm. I'm talking about the people in this room.
What's one reason versus another to go to a place? Told you I could come back.
By God, Otmar, you don't live up to your word and come back for the rest of us. Conscience will not let you live. All of these souls in this room will be on your conscience, your collective conscience. Now, I don't know how much of a conscience any of you have after witnessing what just happened here a few moments ago. And all of you seem okay with cold-blooded murder in such a fashion.
Hey, this is Mags's joint. You know, I don't make the rules here.
Aren't you just the one telling me I can't stay underground forever? Wasn't that you? Weren't those your words? And don't judge me. Council's responsible for more death than I ever have been. More poor treatment of fine people. And if Mr. Ettinger says he'll come back, strikes me as a man of his word, don't you think? Besides, they're all sick, they're all wounded. You think they'll last a minute out there? The most humane thing might be for them to stay exactly where they are. I'll tell you another thing. The kitchen's on the left, next to my office. Refrigerator in there, full of food. I can go for a little while, not long, but a little while. Hopefully we'll be back by then. You got free reign of the place. In fact, Helena, you're in charge of the Hollow now. Till I get back. Understood?
Charge of a goddamn coffin.
I don't know. Everyone's still breathing as far as I can tell.
Go on then.
Except for Dr. Volkov.
What is that?
Go on then. Get out of here. May God have mercy on your souls.
I love a good lecture. We ready?
Half Pint starts scrambling his way through the tunnel. So where does this tunnel pop up?
I'd say it pops up on the outskirts of the colony. I mean, it could pop up in several places, but the way she's leading him is towards sort of the outskirts. Basically, the plan with this tunnel was just in case things got really hot with the council, how to get out of Dodge. So come out on the edge.
All right. And can you describe this tunnel for me? Is it like carved out of the earth, or is there like ventilation, part of a sewer system? Is it
Combination thereof. Some of it is you're going through actual sewers. Some of it is doorways into areas where they've actually trenched and dug.
so you're making way through these tunnels, and to get to where you want to, crawling the way you are, would probably take you the better part of half an hour just to reach where you wanted to go on the outskirts of town. I'm assuming you guys are trying to be, even though you are in a tunnel, you are kind of intersecting with existing sewer systems, so you are trying to be stealthy and perceptive as you go, right? So I need you to make a mobility check again for me, please, Gideon, at -2.
Oh man,
You're starting to get maybe a little claustrophobic. The fact that you're being dragged along behind Otmar, not the most comfortable ride. You're feeling a little helpless. And you can feel like a panic attack kind of settle in on your chest a little bit, but you manage to keep it together and push your way through to the end of this tunnel system. You pop up in the grasslands on the outskirts of town. You make your way straight to the crash site.
I'd say so, yeah. I'm not
Guess
walking, so I
somebody's
don't know.
got a better idea.
You head back to the crash site and you see your ship kind of looming up in the distance there. And you see off to one side, kind of nearby, is Jarvis's stall. Can you all make an observation check for me, please? Actually, who has the highest observation? All right, Ezra, can you please make that observation check? You've been back and forth and around your ship enough to know Jarvis's stall and what it looks like, what it's supposed to look like. But one thing you know is quite easily is like when the doors are open or closed, the pen is open.
I'll tap Otmar on the shoulder and point.
Uh-oh. Looks like Jarvis got out. That hasn't happened in a while now. How long has it been, Gideon?
At least 6 months, I think. Maybe more.
God damn it. It's such a pain in the ass to get him. Wait, how do you think he got out of the stall?
He can't have gotten out unless someone left him out, right?
I'm gonna go take a look. Y'all go on to the ship, but I'm gonna quickly see what I can see.
Otmar, you peel off. By this time, Aiko can unfold the wheelchair and Gideon, you can be wheeled around once more. Otmar, can you make an observation check for me, please, as you approach? And because this is familiar to you, I'll give you an extra die, 1d6. You approach Jarvis's stall, and yes, he has been released. He's no longer there. You can see his massive trail, quite obvious to you, leading off into the grasslands. But what is odd about this is that you see on the ground in a stall drops of black goo, like almost like a tar-like substance.
He would go over and smell it. Has he ever smelled it before?
You smell it, and it has a strange, almost metallic smell. Like if you metal, when you heat it a lot, it kind of gives off that kind of burnt metal smell.
Yeah. Bad smell. He recoils and he looks around. He tries not to panic and he heads back.
You guys are not that far from your crash site, so I'll bring you there now.
As we approach it, I'll chirp Carl and say, "We're here. Wait for me to knock on the panel before you open the door."
Gideon, see if evidence of at least his sisters having made it out here.
You look around. Go ahead and make an observation check, Gideon. You scan around almost frantically, looking for any signs of your sisters. None.
Hey, Ezra?
Yep.
Is there any chance Lee and the others might have gotten onto the ship?
Nope.
Okay. Okay. This is fine. Sure, they're nearby, maybe.
Gideon, you get on the ship. I'll go check your pop's house.
They said they would be here. Why are they here? Why aren't they here?
They might be dead, honestly. Gotta be ready for that, but I'm gonna go look.
You see the door to the shuttle open with a little click and a hiss as it lowers down, the hydraulics engaging. You see standing at the top of the stairs, Carl. He looks around, waves you all in. You all get on board, or Otmar, you gonna?
Yeah, Otmar would head off to the last known location of the kids.
Ezra tosses Otmar his comms device. Says, "Chirp Carl."
Microphone check, Carl. You read me?
Yeah, I got you loud and clear.
Breaker 19. We got him. Yeah, 10-4, good buddy. I'll be back at you.
Ezra looks at Carl and says, "Give me your device."
Sure, Captain. And he hands it over to you.
Good. Ezra clips it on his belt.
Lockjaw is looking at you, Mags, and says, "Are you sure it's safe for him to go out there on his own?"
Of course, I don't think it's safe for him to be out there. So, Lockjaw, I need you to get out there. Go with him. Follow him. Help him out.
Yeah. He kind of just drops the long data disk on the floor of the shuttle and marches down the ramp and out, chases after Otmar.
Job's done.
Ezra will nod to Carl, pick up the disc, bring it to the bridge.
All right. Carl struggles lifting up this massive disc, which Lockjaw made look so easy to carry around. But yeah, he's kind of hobbling with this massive disc towards the bridge.
I think Gideon's gonna stay by the bay doors because he thinks maybe they'll just pop up. Maybe they missed them somehow.
Can you make another observation check, Gideon?
Oh no.
As you linger at the top of the stairs, just praying, hoping that maybe they're just hiding in the grass someplace and they'll come out, you catch sight of something half buried in the sand. Down to inspect it, and it is a stuffed toy, Sophie's favorite. And you see around it footprints. Small, not adult footprints. And they're walking off into the distance. 3 sets of footprints. Hold on. Is it? 3 sets of footprints and 1 adult set with them.
Gideon's gonna follow them, at least to the best of his ability.
Right. That's where we'll end our session tonight.
Hang on.
Okay.
Unless, I mean, you can end, but as Carl starts taking the data disk into the ship, Ezra's going to go over to the panel that opened up and says, "Who's in and who's out?" Doors closing.
South is getting in the ship.
Gideon just walked out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Otmar
Yeah,
had
he's
just
long
he had started to set off back to the house. Lockjaw trailing behind.
Ezra's gonna look. I'm sorry, Ezra. Jeez, Max is gonna look at Ezra, and say something like, "You strike me as being pragmatic, but I don't take you for a bluffer. We ain't leaving until Lockjaw's back here. Am I right?"
Fine. He presses the button to close the door.
Who's in?
And I look at Mags and say, "Keep an eye on that one." And I gesture to Aiko. And then I turn and walk to the bridge and start to do a full flight readiness check.
Okay. And that's where we'll end.
Breaker 19. This is Otmar.
All right. Well, thanks for watching. And this video will be up on our YouTube channel in 1 week from tonight. And we'll be back in 2 weeks to see how things unfold.